Wrong button. Hey, how's it going, everybody? Phlinger here. And recently in one of my streams, somebody asked me a question. Now, it took me a little bit to realize just how good of a question this was, actually. It took me a long time. And then I started realizing that it was such a good question that I had to kind of ask myself a few other questions just in order to answer it. So the question itself was, how do you build a base? Because in my time playing Ark, which has been since the game first came out in Ark Survival Evolved, I just kind of have done it without even thinking exactly what a base is. And that brings me around to the other question I had to ask myself, was what is a base? What determines the factor as to what is a base? Well, if you're in PvP, it can be a tiny little box, or it can be a storage box with something, you know, or like a smithy somewhere, you know, hidden, or it can be like a multi-layered massive thing. But and in PvE, what is a base? Well, a base can be, you know, big, huge, you know, ornamental things that have, you know, a lot of stuff that you really enjoy. You know, it can be pretty, and a lot of people take a lot of pride in, you know, just building their bases the way they like to. But how do you build one? I mean, really, what are the dynamics other than just doing it? Well, there's a few different things. Well, you know, I mean, you can have, you know, a big, massive base like this that has, you know, a little spot for your crops over here on this side that comes over with, you know, a landing pad for your wyvern or whatnot, and, you know, a dedicated breeding area out here. You know, you could have all sorts of stuff like that. Or you could have something just as humble and small as this, because this right here, technically, this is a base. So yeah, how do we build a proper base, or how do we just build a base? All right, let's cover this, and let's try not to get as as philosophical as I am kind of wanting to, but let's get down to it. Let's get into the nitty gritty and the thick of it, and let's go decide or figure out, how do you build a base? And I want to hear things down in the comments as well. What does it mean for, you know, to build a base? What does a base mean to you? What are the requirements for it to actually technically be a base? Because, I mean, other new people are constantly coming into the game. So let's make this a repository for people that come in and they hear the term, well, there's a base. I'm going to my base. I'm going to go log out of my base. I'm going to go work on my base. I'm going to go breed at my base. I'm going to do things at my base. Let's leave a repository of knowledge down in the comments for what does it mean to you what a base is. What does it take in order to build a base? Because things can be massive or they can be small. All right, well, let's cover the technicalities of what there is to build a base, because frankly, I could sit here and I could talk all day about the philosophy of a base. But when it comes down to it, let's break into the technical bits, which is something I excel at. So let's cover that. All right, so the technicalities of how to build a base. Well, a base can be built anywhere you want it. I mean, literally anywhere you want it. We could actually build way up there on the side of that cliff if we wanted to. We could build right here in this flat area on Scorched Earth. We could go all the way over to any map, and we could basically build wherever we want. Now, when it comes around to certain little aspects of a base needs to have a water source. In my opinion, a base absolutely needs a water source. Like these ones right here. It doesn't matter if it's running water. It doesn't matter if it's a lake, a river, an ocean, or one of these. So, you know what? Let's put one of those down there. All right, so there, now we actually have a certain aspect to water. But we don't want to build here in this area right here because it's kind of open, a little bit exposed. Over here on the edge of this actually has a few benefits, especially being on Scorched Earth. The further over we go means that we're going to be in higher wind. So let's build according to this. Now, I'm only using this as an example. You can do this however you want. But this right here helps me determine right here is a good spot. So let's build. Let's get some foundations. And let's do this right since we're over on Scorched Earth. Let's build with foundations. All right, so now we've got a couple foundations, and we decided that we want to build, say, right here down on this cliff. All right, right down here. Wrong button. All right, so this right here is the building block foundation for our base. So what are we going to do with it? Well, first off, one of the things that we're going to have to do, whether we do it at the very beginning or we do it at the very end, we are going to have to run the water from over here to over there. All right, now we do that by opening up the reticule, and then we show the range on whatever this is. So now at the edge of the range, since we're going over this way, what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to put that there. Now this will extend how far the water is going to go. So now we'll show the range on that, which will extend it over a little bit further. Let's just put this down on our hotbar because we're going to be needing this. All right, so there we go again. Now we're going to show range again, which is going to extend it over a little bit further. Now, you can actually hide these however you want to, or you could just do whatever you want. Place them anywhere, as long as you're extending. So now we've got full water area of this entire area just from that one water well. All right, now let's go turn this off, and let's get started on what a base really needs. All right, so now that we've found our perfectly placed area that we want, or just the area that we have decided that is bearable to us or is actually decent enough for us to start building, now we need to actually kind of decide what we're going to put in it. Well, there's a couple different things that you're going to need to put in it. No, this is not all it. Well, actually, the first thing that you're going to want to put in it, well, you're going to want to put a bed. Now, a bed allows you to respawn inside of here. It allows you to fast travel. It allows you to do all sorts of things. So if we have the bed here, we could actually, and we have a bed way over there, we could actually fast travel over there, but be careful because it drops all of your equipment right here where you're standing. So we will appear over there naked at the other bed. So just keep that in mind. But it is a very quick and easy way of teleporting all the way across the map. Now, other things that we're going to need. Well, first off, we're going to need a mortar and pestle. All right, so mortar and pestle is kind of important. Now, if you're on PC and you're it's going to automatically snap to the center of any foundation that you put it on, or you can hold Q and that will release it from that. On Xbox and PlayStation, sorry, I'm not sure what it is. I just looked down the very bottom and it'll tell you what it is. So we're just going to put this here because we're going to eventually need to make all sorts of stuff, you know, our narcotics, everything like that. So now that we've got that done, what else are we going to need? Well, we're going to need things like a smithy. All right. Now, a smithy is kind of vital to this. So now where you put your smithy, it doesn't really matter as long as it's easier for you to get to. And I'm about to throw, you know, you guys be quiet. All right. All right. So, yeah, the smithy, it's where you put it. It's really. All right. The smithy, it's only important as to where you feel comfortable. I mean, you could put it right next to the door as you're coming in, or you could put it anywhere that you want to where you could craft a little bit. I'll put it over here on the side because we may end up actually increasing the size of this base. All right, so now that we've got this right here is technically a base. May end up kicking a rodent. All right, so now technically this is a base, and so anything we do here is just enhancing the base. So if we wanted to, say, add a bit more foundations, we could put some up like this. Let's get a ceiling like that. Let's put some of these down like this. And this right here, all this is doing really is enhancing what we want, right? So we take this like that, and then we could say if at some point in time we decided this little base down here is not big enough for us, we could literally just come up here and add all this real estate to here. Now we've got this massive little bit of real estate way back here that we can use however we want. But see right here how we've got this where it's snapping in like this? We could absolutely just raise it up. Now from here, we could take and we could cycle through. Remember, if you're on PC, R cycles through the different things that you can have. Matter of fact, I would recommend before you put anything down, make sure you R cycle through it and just make sure that, you know, what all is inside of there. You know, what all does that piece actually do? So now, not only are we making it so where we're increasing our real estate within our base, we're also making it easier to traverse. All right, so now we can go all the way up like this without having to do the funky little jump that I was having to do before. And this just keeps growing. Now, say if we wanted to move this right here to up here a little bit further, we absolutely could. Just take it, put it down wherever you want. Now, also, we're going to need metal. Well, metal, when you're bringing metal inside the base, well, you're not going to want to have to carry it super far. So, in my opinion, now your opinion may vary, I like to have my metal as close to the entrance as possible. But we still haven't even decided where the entrance is. Give me a sec. All right, so now that we've got a generalized idea of where the front is, the back is, we've got a lovely little porch that kind of wraps out here we could do something else with as well. We know where the front and the back of the base is. So, well, yeah, we could come out like this. Now, we could actually make this as ornamental as possible, and there's quite a few people who take a lot of pride in making their bases look extremely pretty. We're not going to do that today. That's going to be on you. We're talking about the technical aspects of it. So where do we want to put our refining forges? Well, I say I enjoy having them right in the very front. So where, say, if I'm bringing back an Anki that's full of metal, I don't have to walk very far to just get the stuff where it is and ready to cook. If you want to actually protect it, say if you're in a dangerous area and you think that your refining forges might actually get damaged, put them in a different spot. This one right here, I've always put them in spots where I don't have to walk very far to get the metal in there. All right, so now that we've got this, right now we actually have a fully functional base. As silly as it sounds, we do. We have a smithy, and the smithy we can craft stuff in it, or it can hold some of our stuff. And then also we have metal right here that will come down through, and also we have water. The water is also another important part. Now we can actually take, since we actually ran the water, we can take, let me see, and we can set up water that will work off Wi-Fi water anywhere in the base because we specifically put up the water earlier. So now we can have water just about anywhere we want to. Now, of course, the water has a bunch of limited uses because we're working off a water well, which has a limited amount of water, which will refresh over time, but that we still have water. And that is very, very important. Now, All right, so if we're here, we've got a bunch of stuff. We've got our metal, we've got our water, we've got our smithy, we've got our bed. Well, what are we going to do now? Well, we could put a roof over this. Now, a roof is, in my opinion, the skill in building a base when it comes around to making them look pretty and majestic and just amazing looking. It's not in the structure. It's putting a roof on the dang thing. That's the important part. Because if you can't put a roof on the dang thing, you're going to have a few issues. Yeah. So that's the problem. All right. But yeah, you're going to have to learn and experience and experiment with that. This one right here, in my opinion, this roof right here is actually really easy. I just go like this. See. Like that. Get it to where exactly where I want to. Go like that. And then just slope the entire thing. That's really it. That's the way I would do that. But yeah. The key to building a good base, and just remember, is how you put the roof on. Yep. Because you can build it anywhere you want to. If you can't put a roof on it, just go roofless. That's what I do. If you don't have to worry about things attacking you from the sky, then yeah, you really don't need a roof on it. But if things are going to come in, if there's environmental hazards, anything like that, then a roof sometimes is required. Actually, a lot of times it is required. Also, a lot of times people, they just like to feel comfortable and cozy inside of their little ark base cave, because that's basically what it becomes. I enjoy the open air, but that is also personal preference. All right, so now that we've got the roof covered, we've got this covered, we've got a bunch of other stuff covered, what are we going to need? Well, eventually, we're going to end up getting a lot of gear. All right, and with that gear, what we're going to want to do, what we're going to want to hold on to, because that's what ARK players do. They hold on to everything as long as they possibly can. All right, so now this right here, we've got storage. This is small storage, or we could go with a little bit larger storage. This one right here has 15 slots. The next up storage, this one right here, has 45 slots. And the next one has an absurd 350 slots. This one right here is a little bit heavier, a little bit bigger, and also remember, when the foundation below this is destroyed, the entire thing will fall down and this will be saved. Vaults are kind of important if you are worried about your base getting destroyed. So if you're worried about things getting destroyed, build vaults. Otherwise, you really don't need it. These ones right here, they actually have a really good stacking a little bit. So if you press that into that, you can actually go like that, and you can have a whole ton of storage like that. And you can actually use these to section off certain areas of your base if you want to, and go like that. All right, so now eventually you're going to want things like a fabricator. And I would just put it down with the smithy just because that's me. You have to come down to that row right there if you want to craft. And then eventually we're going to need things like electricity. Well, electricity is just like the water. It runs off of Wi-Fi. So now we take this, we put gasoline inside of this, and now everything that's within this range is going to be powered. And that right there, that covers just about all of our base. Now we can actually strategically take and we can position this anywhere we want to, just so where it will cover everything with this Wi-Fi power. It works out pretty well. There's no wires or anything like that to run. Now, say if we need like a cryo fridge, we can put that down as well, especially now that since we have power. Also, if we need to, we can put down refrigerators. And then also, I'm not sure why I didn't grab a grill here. We're going to want things that actually cook our stuff for us. So we're going to put down a grill as well right next to the fridge. Now, if we want to have jerky, we're going to need a preserving bin. So let's take a preserving bin. Let's set that right down here. Actually, let's do 2 of them so where we have quite a few. Because in order to make jerky takes a long time. So if we want to speed up the process, it doesn't really speed up the process, but in the same amount of time it takes to make 1 jerky, we get 2 jerky if you have double. Now you can actually have all the way up to, say if you want 100 of these, you can have 100 jerky. You could be the jerky king if you want. I'm just saying. It is possible. But yeah, just remember that when you're making jerky, it takes a while, but if you want additional jerky, just build more preserving bins. Yeah, it takes up more spark powder, and it's more to manage, but that's how you do it. All right, so now that we've got this base right here, this base is absolutely a fully functional base. Now, if we wanted to, we could even come down and we could turn the lower section into a place where we hatch eggs. So we've got a little area we can come out right here, and then we could imprint on dinos. So we could just take, and we can set down some air conditioners right here, just so where right here, everywhere in this area, we are completely cooled. Now, if it gets really hot up here, we could actually strategically put air conditioners all the way around the base, just so where it constantly is monitoring the temperature inside the base, and you're never going to be in superheat or anything. I am recording this on Scorched Earth, but this applies to everything on, anywhere in Ark. So, yeah. All right, and then when we start getting up into some of the other things, eventually we're going to want to make a greenhouse. Well, a greenhouse is actually pretty easy. All you do is just go and you just add it on to wherever, or you can specifically build certain things, certain areas just for your greenhouse. And then, yeah, you... There we go. Now we got our greenhouse built. Now I'll have to build some half walls in there and then just kind of make that come up. But yeah, now we've got our greenhouse built. All right, now when you're building a greenhouse, what do you have to do? Well, you have to put in crop plots inside of the greenhouse. Well, when it comes around to crop plots, never make the small crop plots. Small crop plots are worthless. If you're going to be doing the crops, in the small crop plots, you can only put berries. In the medium crop plots, you can put in things like citronal and carrots and sava root inside of here. And the big ones are required if you're going to build things like the plant species X, Y, and Zs. These are required for that. Now, I always just put mediums down unless I'm got, a specific goal. And there we go. Now we've actually got enough just for whatever we need. Now we're going to need water. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to take and then put, where is that? We can put this just about anywhere we want to. We've got flowing water. Now this is going to fill everything up. It'll take a while because we're on well water, but it will still work. And it's going to fill it up all the way over here. And there we go. Now we've got our specific little greenhouse up and going. And then now what are we going to do? Well, as we move a little bit further into the more closer to the end game, we're going to want a few other things. We're going to want things like industrial grinder, because industrial grinders are really good. And you're going to want to have your industrial grinder somewhere close to storage, because when you grind things, a lot of stuff ends up in there, and you're going to want to be able to carry that into a storage area or into something for crafting. So I would recommend putting your industrial grinder somewhere close to where you have your storage. All right. Then after that, when you get a little bit higher level, you're going to want things like a chemistry bench, because a chemistry bench is amazing. Now remember, whenever you put anything inside of your chemistry bench, it will actually go and say if we were going to make narcotics, it will use up the materials for 4 narcotics, and then it will give you 6 out of that. So you actually get bonus stuff for crafting inside of a chemistry bench. So chemistry benches, they're kind of important once you finally get to them. They make things so much easier in the world of Ark. But yeah, see right here, it takes out 4 spoiled meat. It'll give us 6 in return. All right, so now, eventually, when you get even higher level, you're going to want to have stuff like, industrial forge, because you're going to outgrow these. You're going to need far more metal than you ever are going to need. So industrial forge, you can take and you can basically put wherever you want. I'm just going to throw this out here. It's going to be really ugly, but it's going to be ours. There we go. That is our industrial forge. It is ugly and is in a really bad spot, but if the ceiling ever breaks, we lose our industrial forge, but it is what it is. We could actually take it, we could put that over on just about anywhere we wanted to. All right, now, for the basics, that's a base. That's a base right there. This right here is a fully fledged base. We can move on into the tech stuff, but I mean, tech stuff, I mean, once you get there, that is end game. By the time you get to the tech stuff, you're going to either be experimenting with it or you're going to be already know how to use it. So, yeah. All right, so this right here, this is a base, technically. This is a base. This is how I do it. This is a lot of different things. Now, generally, I make my bases look a lot more pretty than this, but yeah. All right, so that's the general basics of what it means to build a base. Now, the roof on it, that's a thing that's for you to figure out. This one right here, this was just me going through and showing you everything as to how certain things work and everything of the sort. So, yeah, I hope this answers your question. How do you build a base? Well, that's kind of how. Now, how do you destroy a base? Well, that's how you destroy a base. And I hope this helps you out. And remember, the vault survived. So we've got that going on for us. Take it easy, everybody. And I hope this answered your question. Make sure down in the comments you leave, mention, what does a base mean to you? What are the requirements for a base? Where can you build bases? All sorts of questions to be answered down there. All right? I look forward to reading them. Take it easy, everybody.